We'll get out to course on the 7th with Yi Young, who is ready to take her birdie putt to try and reclaim a share of that lead, though she has stepped out waiting for the wind to hopefully die down. Well, she seems confident enough to finally take this shot. It is tracking, it is on line, but it is just moving to the outside at the last minute, staying centimeters away from her birdie. She will tap in for par and head to the next, still one back of her groupmate, OG Hyun. The 21-year-old in pursuit of her first win on the KLPGA Tour. OG Hyun has won 7 times in her professional career at just 25 years of age. Cho Ayon 1 hole later, a birdie putt on the par 3 8th. Also coming up just to the outside, centimeters away. No birdies to be found for her either. Eight under through 8 and 2 shots back of the leader. Kim Chae-hee, what a run she has been on. Despite going 1 over par on Thursday, she posted consecutive rounds of 67 to start the day at 9 under. She is 1 over through 6 holes, trying to get one of those strokes back. And like a broken record, short and outside to the right. Peng Min-ji, a birdie attempt at 8. This would move her into a share of the lead, but it was always breaking left, and it stays true. Well, obviously, our golfers are battling with fatigue, a lot of golf in a very short window. For some, it may help in the sense that you started the day and despite a quick break, something to eat, and a bit of rest before heading back out to the course, it's really just business as it was when they woke up this morning. They knew what they were getting themselves into. Kim Ji-young 2 up 6 spots after an even par round this morning. 3 under so far through the 10th hole. She is one of our high climbers. Pak Hee-young, as well as Hung Jung-mi with 3 under rounds. And each of those aforementioned players inside of the top 20. The winning score will not be flattering, considering the conditions that they are battling today. But with everything they've gone through, perhaps the win might feel that much sweeter. Unless, of course, Peng Min-ji is able to hang on for win number 7, then it will essentially feel like business as usual after she missed the cut last week. Well, it's a decent first putt from that range. Birdie was always going to be hard to come by, though she set herself up well for a par to carry the score over to the next. Im Hee-jung, the defending champion from the last time this event was held in 2019. This birdie putt would move her within 1, and she's got it. A bogey on the second, 3 birdies since. She is now just 1 back of the lead. Level now with Yi Young and Peng Min-ji. Kim Chae-hee now to salvage the par. And she walked that one in, she knew. Nicely struck, and she will stay 2 back on her way to the 7th hole. It's a simple tap in for the leader. Don't overthink, just execute. She does. Well, she will be under constant siege throughout the course of the next 2.5 to 3 hours, not just from Peng Min-ji and Lee Ga-young, but everyone, quite frankly, inside of the top 10. 11 golfers at 6 under or better, with plenty of shots still to be played. Im Hee-jung teeing off at the next, missing the fairway slightly to the right. Well, she has herself pictured at the tee block, posing with the trophy from 2019. And of course, at the 9th hole, our super slow-mo, chance to analyze the swing. If anything, slightly off the heel of that driver. It's this wonderful combination of power and grace for Im Hee-jung. Peng Min-ji next to tee off. 2 consecutive birdies in rounds 2 and 3 at this final hole of the front 9. It is interesting relative to not just many others on tour, but in general, how the ball is almost perfectly in between her lead foot and her trailing foot. You'll see many players place it just off the heel of the lead foot. Everyone's slightly different. There's no perfect solution or perfect approach to teeing off. And I mean, when you've won 6 events in 1 calendar year on the way to a record-breaking season, record-breaking in many respects already, you're not going to pick apart or throw too many criticisms on someone who has been as successful as Peng Min-ji has. Well, of this group, no bogeys, lots of birdies, lots of pars. Well, Ji-hyun is ready. You can hear the wind, you can see it in the trees. And it's pretty much dead straight, landing off to the front right of the green. Mostly center, slightly left today, the pin location at 8. And back out to the 10th, An Ji-yeon from 71 meters out. She'll get a nice roll to finish just slightly beyond pin high. It's a slight draw off the tee, but a near identical finish, slightly closer to the cup. Well, That will leave Ega Young. Well, this has certainly started more to the left, but it looks like it's going to end in a similar depth of the three. That is the best tee shot of the bunch, though there are no true easy birdie putts to come of our featured group, our final group, to tee off at the first hole this morning. Jae Jean, she has seen her share of struggles. Every now and then she'll remind us what is in the arsenal. It's been consistency, however, for her in the year 2021 as she tries to return to the win column. Or what a race it is going to be today. Oh Ji-hyun and Ega Young swapping spots in first and second respectively. Lee Mi-jung and Peng Min-ji also one stroke back towards the end of their front nines. It is the fourth and final round of the High1 Resort Ladies Open 2021. Well, we will head back out to the eighth now and check out the first putts of our featured group at the par 3 eighth. A trio of birdie attempts, though none particularly easy or all that close by. And to the 10th on Ji-yeon for birdie. Chance to move up to 7 under. Struck too firmly. Will also overhit this attempt from Kim Chae-hee. Lee Mi-jung, as the wind picks up, you can see the leaves rustling in behind her. She's rolled on to the front, though significantly short, relatively speaking, of course. Well, the check and the calculations that Cho Ayan just made has almost immediately become different. Appears to be a relatively significant headwind as she plays her approach from the fairway. Well, as a result of all the rain we've received here at High1 the past 24 hours or so, the course is certainly playing softer. It's Ega Young's turn. On her birdie putt at 8. The misses have been to the inside, and she continues that trend. 0 for 3 in our featured group. And Peng Min-ji missed the fairway off the tee. This her second at 9. 118 meters between her and the pin. Well, she'll land nearly exactly pin high. It's 20 yards off the front, leaving 25 yards in behind the pin to the back of the green and 6 yards from the left. Oh Ji-hyun first to play for par, and par confirmed. Well, when the weather was kinder, she had started her first 2 rounds with a pair of birdies. In rounds 3 and 4, it is a pair of pars. And Jae Jean, a triple bogey on the first hole of her round. It's essentially damage control for her now, down to a tie for 34th. Start of the day 2 under, 3 over for her round. Now through 12 holes, Yiga Young. This her short look at par. She had birdied here each of the 3 times she has played the 8th until this 4th and final time. Im Hee Jung now for birdie at 9. We'll stop about 10 centimeters shy of target. Well, her final hole of the front 9, the mountain course here at High 1, will go down on the card as a par, which is what Kim Chae-hee is trying for and has finalized. Peng Min-ji has reached the green. Slightly inside of 9 meters. 4 birdie and a share of the lead. Well, it is close, but no cigar. Tap in par, and her front 9 is completed. 2 under, 34 birdies at the 3rd and 6th holes. And Oh Ji-hyun ready to tee off at the 9th. .332-meter par 4. Bunkers become the most in play for those who dare to play to the right. It's 23 meters up the hill from tee block to green. Well, as discussed with Peng Min-ji, many other players in the field and around the world set that ball to the inside of the front heel, which is the left heel, for 99.99% of players who make it to the KLPGA. It's a much more lateral swing. She's able to get a bit more power as a result, averaging 245 yards on her tee shots. That's inside of the top 25 for Oh Ji-hyun. Now Cho Ae-yeon from just off the left side of the green. She's averaging a putt and 3/4 per hole. She's underhit this. She's 8 under through 9. Well, 5 of 6 fairways hit in regulation, 7 of 8 greens in regulation, averaging 2 putts per hole. You don't have to be a serious mathematician to be able to decipher that 2 putts per hole through 8 holes would not be conducive to even par or under. She did most of the heavy lifting in advance of this final round. Now she will see if it will pay off for her. Her final hole of the front nine, parred here through each of the 3 rounds played so far. And she starts with a tee shot into the rough. Well, Hodabin will be the beneficiary of a great roll. Still going and finally coming to a stop just beyond a few feet from the cup. All powered by Bushnell Golf. A look at the shots on the way down towards the green here at the par 5 11th is 24 meters to the pin and a slight miss off to the right for Kim Ji-young 2. A chip to set up a birdie as it continues to roll closer and closer to target. Very nicely played indeed. Nearly 400 points between Kimi Ji and Hong Jian. Well, the aforementioned 4th top point getter this season, Kim Ji-young 2, successfully completing another hole on her quest to climb up the leaderboard. Well, she had missed just to the left of the fairway. This the approach for Iga Young. Finds the green though. Certainly some work to be done if she wants to turn that into a birdie. It's 117 meters out for Kim Chae-hee. Well hit and stuck. And sliding back towards the front edge of the green slowly but surely. She is in line for the best finish of her KLPGA career. Her best finish coming at just the 2nd event of the season. A top 10 finish, share of 9th to be precise, at the next in St. Nine. Oh Ji-hyun playing to the back of the green. And Hodabin for birdie to return to 8 under par. And that is where she is headed, off to the 11th hole. Well, Im Hee-jung continuing her quest up the leaderboard as we head back to 9. The birdie putt for Iga Young just beyond 7 meters away, and it's been struck delicately, but too delicately. Well, eventually those will start to fall for her once again, and she'll be right in the thick of this race until the very end. Peng Min-ji knows a thing or two about winning rounds on Sunday. Her approach from around 60 meters finds the right side of the green, slightly beyond the pin. Must be an interesting combination of daunting and inspiring to be grouped with her on Sunday. Choyan's approach also rolls just beyond target. And Oh Ji-hyun finishing off her front nine, a chance to extend her lead by 1 stroke, though it would take quite the birdie. It's Brooke to the outside. A tap in par as she will head to the 10th tee, still at 10 under par, 1 under through 9 holes. The birdie coming back at the first. And a simple tap in for Kim Chae-hee. A par at her final hole of this front nine. And 9 under for Lee Young, same as she was in round 3 through 9 holes. The slip up coming at the 6th, a bogey on the par 3. And back with Im Lee-jung. Well, she is double digits in terms of her meters away. Starts slightly downhill. It never really looked like it had the speed it would take to get to the pin. Her win here back in 2019, the first win in her professional career. Just and only just inside 100 meters, the second shot for Kim Ji-young too. Let's say decent results. The cocktail of the soft greens and the spin has it rolling to a stop near where she arrived. Choyan trying to start her back nine on a high. Weight was fine. We'll peel off just to the inside of where she started that putt, off to the left, and a tap in par at the 10th. And now Peng Min-ji for birdie. Looks like it's coming back. And she has her third birdie of the round. Now she is double digits under par. And the race for number 7 is very much on. Im Lee-jung cashes in on her par. Sitting and waiting in the wings with Lee Young. Now Kim Ji-young too, after a good approach, this for birdie to move within 2. Well done. Back to back, and now 5 on the round. Well, nearing the end of our first hour of coverage of the final round. The High1 Resort Ladies Open. Lee Ga-young, one back of Oh-ji Hyun and Peng Min-ji playing the first hole of her back 9. Trying to go right over the top and drop in beyond the sand and just before the pin, and that is precisely what she has done. Vintage of the kind of strokes she was making through the first 2 rounds when she raced out to a comfortable lead with a 7-time winner in her career and someone looking for win number 7 on the season. Lee Ga-young, at just 21 years of age, is going to have to bring her best if she wants to take home the title. Oh-ji Hyun next to play, also a very decent approach. Only Kim Chae-hee further back than those two. Peng Min-ji, her second shot from the par 5 11th. Well, she has another group finishing out on the green, and Peng Min-ji has gone safely in behind them and will hustle over and prepare for her approach. Meanwhile, Kim Chae-hee prepping for her birdie putt at 10. We've seen a few players before her miss to the left, and Kim Chae-hee had the line down to the millimeter, just coming up short, and a frustrated nudge to finalize that par. That was a sensational putt. It seemed like it was perfectly on line when she was swinging that far out to the right. Aesthetically, it doesn't look exactly right, but she knew exactly what she needed to do, just lacking a touch of pace. Imi Jung playing her second from the fairway on the par 5. Well, she went for it in 2, and she came up just short, finding the rough to the right to the front edge of the green. Well, it is the 10th edition of this tournament. We've only had one repeat winner since it was first held back in 2008. So-hee Gyung, the inaugural winner. Oh-ji Hyun wants to add her name to that column. She's going to need putts like that to fall for her down the stretch. Birdies at the 10th in rounds 2 and 3. It is just par here in round 4. Same score she had on Thursday. Peng Min-ji had laid up her third shot to set up a birdie. She's had 2 of them here at the 11th. Well, it lands just beyond the front edge and didn't get the roll she would have been hoping for. Now Lee Ga-young, a short look at birdie. These are the kinds of putts the championships are made of. Birdied here for the 3rd time at the 10th. And back into a share of the lead at 10 under, where she started the day and also started round number 3. Choi Yun's turn for the approach. It's 66 meters from the fairway. Oh, closer than Peng Min-ji, but outside of gimme range. Kim Ji-young too, a few holes further forward on the 13th. A long look at birdie from outside of 10 meters. A downhill putt that stops inside of a couple of meters. Nimi Jung, who came just short of reaching into a chip for eagle or a chip to hopefully, in her case, set up a birdie. Well, it's more of a flop than anything. It's getting a decent roll. Well, that is definitely a makeable birdie. Lim Hee-jung was the final to reach the green at 11 and on the tee blocks. Lee Ga-young's turn. Just one eagle here at 11. One of three players at a score of 10 under par. Well, that'll be a fortuitous bounce towards the left side of the fairway. Might have just rolled off the left into the rough. Oh Ji-hyun, she bogeyed here in her opening round. Pars in rounds 2 and 3. Would love to turn that trend into a birdie, though she's off to a tough start squarely into the fairway. Into the rough, excuse me. Missing the fairway to the left. And Peng Min-ji, a birdie putt from quite the distance. Well, it started online. It stayed online, just a bit too much power. Hoda Bean playing her second at 12. Well, she used the rough to take some of the pace off, but the spin brings her back onto the fringe just before the green. Choi Yan looking to get within one of the lead. And just missing to the outside. It's pretty universal body language for all golfers. When they rock back on their heels, they want that ball to come back hard to the inside. Rarely does it ever respond to that gesture. And now Kim Ji-young 2 teeing off the par 3 14th. Has not birdied here through 3 rounds. Andy Mi-jung, a look at birdie and sole possession of the lead. And that birdie is made. 11 under now for the defending champion, her 4th birdie of the round. Back atop the leaderboard and looking down at the rest of the fields. This from Peng Min-ji to save par and keep that gap to just 1. And that is job done. We'll look at the longest hole on course, 504 meters. This par 5 11th. You can certainly get there in 2 if you play aggressive enough and are accurate enough. Though there is rough, sand, and water attempting to guard the path of any approach shots, especially those who go for 2. And the pin today on 11 to the front left of the green. Lee Ga-young playing her approach from the rough, and that is sprayed out towards the right. Certainly not a favorable lie to try and go at that pin.
Shot.
Advance nicely down the fairway. Im Hee-jung, the winner in 2019. She had a final round 75. She was that far ahead after 3 rounds that she could shoot 3 over and still win here at High1. 4 under in her first round, 6 under in rounds 2 and 3, and just coasted to the finish line. It will not be that easy today, especially with Peng Min-ji not just hot on her heels, but on her heels. But Peng Min-ji is slightly gone to the right. Oh Ji-hyun from the left, or a miss off to the left of the fairway. Iron in hand, as she will try and lay up into the fairway just before the green. I'm not taking any risks. It's a conservative approach. Some might call it cautious. I call it smart in her circumstances. She won't win the major. Won't win the tournament, excuse me, with a hole out or an aggressive shot, but she could certainly start to lose it should she find the water. It is consecutive pars now for Ho Da-bin. Now 4 players tied at 10 under, a 4-way share of the lead. Everyone in their final 9 holes of the event. Well, Peng Min-ji playing from the rough just off the fairway at 12. It's 109 meters out. She'll come up just short of the green, staying in that second cut. Now Oh Ji-hyun, her approach from dead center in the fairway. Well, she went at the pin, landed centimeters away, and will roll inside a meter and a half. Short birdie putt in her future. Now, Iga Young looking to replicate, if not do slightly better. It's 86 meters from the rough. Well, she lands just onto the front of the green. If that shot was taken from the fairway, she might have been right at that pin. Rough enough to slow her down. Kim Chae-hee only 62 meters after her second par, bogey, and birdie. Her first 3 trips here. Nearly completing the grouping with an eagle. Leaps up to make sure that that putt is short. She thought it had a chance. Kim Ji-young 2 for birdie out the 14th. Just missing to the outside. Mere millimeters off. Tap in, and we'll take that 8 under score to the 15th. Now Peng Min-ji from just off the front. That's a good chip, but certainly after the result of that second shot, she knew birdie was out of the cards. Even someone who has won as many times in one season and has been there and done that like Peng Min-ji, still getting some nerves, as she just showed and expressed to her caddy. Hoda being a decent approach, slight downhill putt. All that remains for her. Now Iga Young, this is a long look at birdie. But the operative and important part of that sentence is that it is still a look at birdie. Well, it seems slow off the release and does roll beyond a meter short. Now Imi Jung could get to 11 under if this rolls into the bottom of the cup. It was tentative, but that's probably the safe play. Tap and par, and we'll have to continue to share this lead. Oh, Ji Hyun catches about half of the outside. The radius stays out and is a tap and par. Now Peng Min-ji to finalize a par of her own at the 12th. Well, at the minute out on course, feels like a bevy of pars, and a par is a good result right now. It is a split purse of 800 million won, 144 of that going to the winner. It's about 122,000 American dollars, 90,000 pounds sterling, or 104,000 euro. Well, for anyone in the top 5 right now, it's a good payday looming. Lee Ga-young has sights on a bigger prize, the win, first title of her young career. Now, An Ji-yeon hasn't particularly enjoyed this 14th hole here at High1. Well, that's a great result and a legitimate look at her first birdie here in this event. Kim Chae-hee a birdie putt and a short one at that to move her within 1 of the lead. Converted 9 under. Just 20 years of age, trying to improve upon 9th, which is the best results of her very young career, her fledgling career. Now Im Hee-jung teeing off at 13. Well, lower and slower than some tee shots we've seen here, though nicely into the fairway. Peng Min-ji's turn. Oh, this looks like a significant draw. Is there enough to keep a piece of the fairway? No, it appears not. One hole further back. So Ji-hyun teeing off at 12. To the right of the fairway, but on the fairway. And Hoda Bean for birdie. She too can move within 1. She's pushed this wide. Kim Chae-hee is next at 12. Well, the driver's been one of the more inconsistent clubs in her bag. The driving accuracy just barely inside the top 100, though the distance firmly inside of the top 10. Now as she gains experience and plays in more and more events, that is certainly a piece of her game that will become more consistent. Ball struck from Lee Ga-young. Hoda Bean off the missed birdie putt is able to finish off with a par at the 13th. Well, at the par 4 13th, a hole just beyond 300 meters in length. The shortest par 3 on the course. It is the second shot, the approach for Im Hee-jung. any other day, but a wet round 4. That has a shot at dropping for eagle. It's very well struck. Now, Choa Yun's turn. He's only missed 1 green today in regulation. Looking to go 12 of 13. It started off to the left. Well, technically it was left, but she will be more than satisfied with that finish. Pungmin from before the sand trap. She goes up the hill, comes up a little bit short and rolls just a couple of meters off the front edge. Oh-ji Hyun on the approach from the fairway at 12, 110 meters out. Well, that is one of the nicer approach shots she'll strike all day. Slightly unfortunate with the slope back towards the front edge, but that is a very well struck second shot. Now Ega Young's turn. Well, similar landing point from the fringe. Her roll, however, will take her right off of the green. Well, even the best golfers in the country occasionally have to yell and hear 4. Well, that is the leaderboard. 2 players at 10 under. Ega Young, Oh-ji Hyun, Kim Chae-hee. Barely on the outside looking in. Well, only one of the 3 has found the green. The other 2 are just short and into that second cut. Now Pungmin, a downhill putt for birdie at the 13th. Just short, not by much. Well, a few holes further ahead on the final par 5 of the course. The 454-meter par 5 15th. Just Just 100 or just 58 meters, excuse me, remaining for Kim Ji-young too. Well, that's going to carry and roll well. Well, that is a very nice finish for Imi Jung. Another birdie. And now 11 under par. And now here is Kim Chae-hee, trying to roll it in close. Her third shot of the hole. Not to be, but the par very likely will. Choi-yun for birdie. And can move within one if this were to fall. Missed to the inside. Some serious right to left movement on that birdie putt. The deftest of touches from the rough. Slightly short of the grand prize for Lee Jae-young, but setting up a par, which is what Pang Min-ji is striving for at the 13th. Still at 10 under. Now back with Oh Ji-hyun. Too short to be overly daunting, but too long to be too easy. Chance to get to 11 under. In sole possession of the lead. Oh Ji-hyun in and out. Well, it's nearly impossible to strike a putt as well as she just did and come away fruitless. A birdie at the first, and it has been all pars ever since. Now just 6 holes remaining in her tournament. Kim Chae-hee. Well, that's an unfortunate miss for Kim Chae-hee, who has done so many things right. Picking up a lot of ground. 20-year-old 6th in the rookie point standings. 3rd bogey of the round now for her. Really taking her time to align and prepare mentally for this putt. Lee Ga-young trying to save par and stay at 10 under. She's just missed to the outside, literally rolling above and beyond the target. The tap in takes her down to 9 under par. So-yeon Jung started the day in a tie for 7th. Rounds of 70 each and every time out. Hoda Bean for birdie. Her look at the 14th. Final par 3 of her round. We know that some players saying good riddance to holes 6, 8, 14, and 16. Now Oh Ji-hyun teeing off at the 13th. Pretty straight, if not the slightest of draws to the left, and that downslope, that hill will help it get the rest of the way. Now Im Hee-jung. Well, this could be a spell of trouble. No, Top Tracer certainly playing a trick on us, as that looked very far to the right. Peng Min-ji's turn. How's this gonna do for a roll? Not a whole lot, to be honest. Lee Ga-young. That will settle up nicely in the fairway. Kim Ji-young too. Well, nearly a long overdue birdie. Five under, for the day. 8 under for the event. Kim Ji-young 2. With rounds of 70, 71, and 72. Now in line for 67 with just 3 holes to play. Im Hee-jung has taken over sole possession of the lead at 11 under par. Im Hee-jung, a putt for birdie, had the distance just slightly off on the way she had lined that one up. She is very much in title contention. The long walk around and the tap in par to maintain this 4 under day. Kim Ji-young 2, 5 under. Ha Min-song 4 under as well. 3 shots back. Lee Ga-young playing the approach at 13 from 94 meters out. And she is going to roll pretty close to the very back of the green. Oh Ji-hyun's turn. Trying to do much better than that and starting closer as well. She goes to the opposite side of the green and she does roll off onto the fringe. Pang Min-ji, a downhill putt that will move significantly right to left. This would take her to 11 under. She is overhit. Will mark off and prepare for her par. Now Kim Ji-young 2, very nearly the end of her round. And very nearly some late round magic from the edge as well, but rolling beyond the cup. Now par save for Pang Min-ji. And it's converted. Stays 1 back. And we'll walk over to the tee of the final par 5 of her round. Now working back towards the middle of the green from just beyond 2 meters off the back. Well, she started this very much on line. Watch it make its way back. It just runs out of juice. Well, thought about playing through, but her group mate is indeed ready. Well, she makes way for Kim Chae-hee. Almost perfectly in line and slightly closer than Lee Ga-young's attempt. It would be quite the birdie. Move her back to even par. But it is a Herculean task. She too has started this online. Does it have the weight? Yes, it does. And an extra bit of pep in her step. She has moved back to even par, starting the day at 9 under and through 12 holes. Now back at that 9 under mark. And the pin goes back in for OG Hyun, who is putting from just a piece of the front edge of the fringe. Well, it never showed any desire or real chance. And moving back down towards her birdie. Quick tidy, quick realign, and a short tap-in putt for par. And par is made off to 14, one back of the leader. Hoda Bean with a significant divot at 15. Both in terms of the grass she took with her and the divot she has created upon arrival on the green. Imi Jung, her final par 5. 454, a birdie here in round 3. Well, again, the distance certainly not an issue for Imi Jung, but staying in the fairway has been the past few holes. Now Peng Minji's turn. Well, now she's off to a good start. Well, a par 3, 154 meters. First of 2 par 3s in a 3-hole window, 14 and 16. Nearly the exact middle of the green. And only 4 or 5 meters off the front of it. Kim Jae-hee is ready with his tee shot at 14. Well, another approach down or a tee shot that comes ever so close to glancing off the pin. Now OG Hyun ready to tee off. First of 5 final tee shots, barring a playoff. She is rolled towards the back left off the tee, about 9 to 10 meters beyond where she would have wanted and needed that to land. Well, the par 5s have certainly been the toughest, or at least the least productive for Lee Ga-young. Birdie, par, and birdie through 3 trips to the 14th. Well, missed short, missed left, and into the rough for Lee Ga-young. Now Ho Da-bin for birdie at the par 5. Started up, rolled down well, rolls to the inside left by about 15 to 20 centimeters. Now Im Hee-jung from the rough. 240. Her second shot on the par 5. Well, bounce or pop right out of the rough and into the fairway. And Peng Min-ji, 228 for her with the fairway wood in hand. Another instance where she has found the patch of rough separating fairway from green. Well, with the leaderboard starting to shrink and just 3 names on it, it is a clear indication that we are reaching the home stretch. 120 players began the weekend. Slightly more than half made the cut. And now it is becoming a 3-player race to the finish. They've battled very aggressive tournament conditions. They've battled the weather, and they're battling each other. And we have almost reached the conclusion. Im Hee-jung, the defending champion, trying to put together a repeat performance like we saw from Pak Hyung-kyung, at the KLPGA Championship, the first one that comes clearly to mind. Though Pak Hyung-kyung at the KLPGA, the 43rd presented by Chris FNC, truly felt like the only one who could possibly take home the title. Im Hee-jung certainly has some significant challenges. Peng Min-ji methodically working her way around the course just after 4 p.m. local time. Gohanri, Gangwon province. And Im Hee-jung can... Not Im Hee-jung, rather, that is Kim Chae-hee, shades of Im Hee-jung with back-to-back birdies now, and she has rejoined the fray. Just one back of the leader at 11 under par. Now Peng Min-ji from quite some distance away could also reach 11 under if she can convert on this putt. The line was there, just lacking the final centimeters of distance required. She has completed all of the par 5 she will face in this tournament, down to her final 3 holes. No Ji-hyun keeping pace as well. Off to the aforementioned final par 3 after that par save. Well, the final hour, the home stretch, where every shot, every putt especially, is magnified. On most weekends, this is typically the time of the final hole, if not the beginning of the post-event ceremonies, the presentations, but with the weather postponement yesterday and the early start for this entire field, we're about an hour delayed, but consistently and steadily working our way towards the finish line. Im Hee-jung, a left to right, slightly downhill putt to extend this lead. Didn't quite compensate or consider enough that left to right break as she rolls beyond. And tapped in and off to 16 with the slimmest of margins, one shot above the field. Kim Chae-hee, first of the group to tee off at the 15th, dogleg right, and she's working left instead and off the left side of the fairway into the rough. Hoda Bean, she is running out of holes to make one final charge. This putt from the fringe just comes up short. And back to the 15th with Oh Ji-hyun teeing off. No worse than par and one birdie here as well. That's a good looking start to this hole for Oh Ji-hyun. A faded drive towards the middle of the fairway and willing to let the cheekiest of sly smiles slip. Kim Ji-young too, playing her second from 203 away on 18. coming up short and right of the green. Well, this is what faces our featured group on their final par 5. The shortest of the 4, par 5's on course, a dogleg to the right with a significant final climb uphill towards the green. The longer you can hit your drive to take off some of that distance, the better. Playing towards the right also will reduce significantly the distance required to navigate this hole, but there is sand traps, as you can see, lining the right side of number 15. And once you reach the green, longer and deeper on it is better. With the pin today, 27 yards off the front, which is just 10 yards from the back and 9 yards from the right hand side. Kim Chae-hee is going to need to muscle this one out of the rough and work back into the fairway to give herself a chance at a birdie. Well, she's out of the rough into the fairway, but only just. Well, another 4-day event on the horizon, beginning on Thursday, the 26th of this month at Jade Palace. It is the 1.4 billion won purse Hanwha Classic 2021. Amy Jung teeing off at the par 3 16th. Just finished her par 5 complement. This is her final par 3 of the event. Well, she's on, working that left side and rolling about 5 yards beyond. The second from Oh Ji-hyun. All into no man's land between fairway and green. That second cut. It's not a prohibitive landing zone, but it certainly doesn't make it easy. Peng Min-ji's tee shot at 16 is next. While carrying a bit of extra distance. Back to the 15th with Kim Chae-hee on the approach. And landing and staying on the back set of fringe. Meanwhile, one hole further ahead, Peng Min-ji, a lengthy downhill look at birdie. It's tracking, it's just coming up short. Well, it's hard to believe that just a few days ago, we were asking the question about her putting. is it good enough to get back in the win column? It was nearly 18 consecutive pars for her, stretching through 2 events. Well, towards the end of that round, the putter came back alive, and as did the rest of her game. Always a threat on Sunday when she is playing. Yiga Young, more flashbacks, more memories of her first 2 rounds with an approach like that. And Im Hee Jung can add another birdie to the column, but this one was always short and heading right anyways. Oh Ji-hyun from the rough just before the green. A serious lob wedge on the way in towards the cup. Well, she played it safe, but she's played it short. Kim Ji-young too. One last chance to go low as she plays her 3rd on the par 4 18th from the rough. She can sink that par putt. It will finalize her 8 under par round. Still in a tie for 10th. Im Hee Jung still alone atop the field at 11 under with just 2 holes to play. Well, she stumbles at the end. Plays it beyond, and she will drop a shot to end her round. Ji-hyun, another long look at birdie. She has to get this absolutely perfect. The weight was pretty good. The line is slightly misjudged. Rolling that putt to the inside of the cup, and will quickly tap in for her par. And Hoda Bin from the fairway at 17. Able to come up and land pin high. She needs both of these birdies and some help if she wants to be at least in contention for a playoff. Kim Chae-hee putting from the fringe. Well, I can't imagine she would have done much better had she chipped that. She's a 3-time winner on tour, though she hasn't found a win since the year 2019. This tournament, obviously one of her 3 wins. She was tied for runner-up last year at the Tayunia MBN Ladies Open. That's Théo Mauvert. And a sprint for the finish once again. Peng Min-ji didn't even make the cut last week. She's with the leader in the same group. Can put the pressure on her. Just needs to get the better for once. Yiga Young, a short birdie putt at the 15th to cut the deficit to 1. And again, back to 10 under. How important could those opening rounds of 5 under apiece be down the stretch here? And Kim Ji-hee to save par and stay at 10 under. And missed to the inside. Cannot believe she's let one slip. She trades places with the guy. Well, it was a putt inside of 4 meters. She left just a little bit off of what was required. Down to the final hole. And might be a little bit too little, too late. Well, the final par 3 of the championship. The bridge has become something of a scenic feature of this 16th hole. Three yards longer than the 14th, the longest par 3 on the course. Big pond separating the tee block and the green. 7 yards uphill. They need to go from the tee to the green. Less than 10 birdies here today. It is playing tough. It's 8 yards from the left edge, the pin, and just 9 yards of the 39 total. This 16th green. We started with 120 players in the field. It is a 4-person race for the win. Lee Ga-young will tee off first. Well, comes up short, but stays dry and avoids the out-of-bounds area. Barring a miraculous chip, that takes birdie off the table. Oh Ji-hyun, the next to tee off. Well, it lands, it bounces, and it rolls further down the green than what was anticipated for Ji-hyun. Now Min-jung, her penultimate hole, the approach. It's 103 meters from the fairway to the pin. That will work out very nicely indeed. If she can convert on that birdie, she will essentially at least guarantee herself a playoff hole, even with one hole to play in her group 3 in the featured. Peng Ji next on the approach. Has to go shot for shot at Imi Jung now to have any chance. While taking one final long walk around to scout out where she wants to land this. Some green maintenance, some divot repairs, and some debris cleanup. Every shot magnified in the final few holes. Peng Ji is about a meter further back and left than Imi Jung. Clearing the path, looking for birdie to truly put the pressure on Imi Jung. Peng Ji for birdie, just misses to the inside of the cup. She's not finished second this season. Of course, 6 wins, 3 missed cuts. Certainly not the case this year. A 10-time winner in her career. Tied for third at the Jeju Samdasu Masters. If she comes up short, she has a legitimate shout for at least a runner-up finish. Yiga Young, her best effort at birdie. One final repair around the cup for Imi Jung. This birdie would take her 2 strokes clear. And it would be 2 strokes clear with just 2 holes to play. Well, she just saw what the final few centimeters in and around the cup, how they will play, how they played for Peng Ji. The leader for a 2-shot cushion heading into her final hole. Come back enough at the end? No. Peng Ji missing to the inside. Imi Jung just rolling it past the outside of the cup. A tap-in par, and she will head to the 18th at 11 under par. You can see it definitely thought about straightening out, but stays true to its line. It's a sport of centimeters and millimeters. The slightest change in grip, pace, and swing can impact and change everything. OG Hyun, that might have redirected itself off of something in her path. In the end, it goes down as a miss, and it will go down as a par. That is 15 in a row since her birdie at the first. She certainly has given herself just about every opportunity. Hoda being her second. A wood shot from outside of 200 meters at 18. She too finds the rough between the fairway and green at the final hole of her tournament. Now Kim Chae-hee.
Okay.
And she'll roll that in for birdie. Calm, cool, and composed on the outside. Must be gleaming on the inside. She's played aggressive, and she's played incredibly well down the stretch. A couple of bogeys to go along with a handful of birdies. And she is back to 1 stroke behind the leader with the luxury of 2 more holes to go. Lee Ga-young still even. She would stay even with this converted par.
Okay.
2 holes to play. And she is just 1 shot back, carrying that even par round and 10 underscore to the 17th. Well, the second to last. 341 meters. A significantly shorter par 4 than what she will face, what they will face on the 18th. Couple of sand traps to the left side of the green. Very wide fairway. The tee shot is pretty straightforward. And then they continue on the downhill quest. You can see that pretty significant step cutting the green basically in half. Just 5 yards off the front of the green, 8 yards from the right edge. The first tee shot is away. Well, what was I just mentioning about a wide fairway? Kim Chae-hee off to the left. Ji Hyun will tee off next. She has parred 6 times out of 6 on the 17th and 18th holes. And her tee shot is a miss to the right of the fairway. Well, that leaves this fairway wide open for Lee Ga-young, 2-time winner on the Dream Tour. Her best KLPGA finish. Sole possession of second at the Makolmona Park Open with SBS, Yangpyeong Resort, and in 2019, tied for second at the ADT Caps Championship. So far, so good on 17. Well, barring a playoff, final tee shot. Teeing off at the 72nd and final hole of regulation play for Emi Jung. Now Peng Minji's turn. She hasn't particularly loved this hole. 2 pars and a bogey. Though able to find the fairway with her first. Emi Jung, a 1-shot lead with Peng Minji, Lee Ga-young, Oh-ji Hyun, and Kim Chae-hee just 1 shot back, waiting for a misstep and a chance to tie and force a playoff hole. Well, we are about 20 minutes away from learning if we will have a winner after 72 holes or if we will need a playoff to determine who will take home the title here at the High1 Resort Ladies Open. We return to the 17th in the fairway. It is Lee Ga-young. Every shot, every approach magnified at this point in the tournament. No doubt it's a tough pin location today near the front of the green, daring you. How aggressive do you want to be? How much are you willing to risk these final few holes? Kim Soo-ji, a nice way to finish at 18. Birdies at 16 and 18. Turning it up in the final holes of her tournament. Check out the amount of break for Ho Da Bin and just to save par. And she read it well. Oh, Ji Hyun had come up to the right of the fairway, her approach coming from the rough. Well, and that is not going to help her cause. Rough to rough to the right of the green. Unless there is some kind of miraculous chip. She'll have to wait to the 18th to try and find a birdie. Kim Chae-hee is in the other side of rough, though she is able to find the green. And we'll get a roll back towards the cup, which will help the cause, and it is still on its way back down the slope. Head to 18. From the fairway, first to play. It is a fairway wood from just a hair inside of 200 meters. Peng Minji, has she run out of time? Looking for win number 7. She's given herself a chance to get that ever important birdie as she's able to find the green. Now, Emi Jung. She went just beyond the fairway into the rough. This is her approach. Well, she gets through the rough and on the green, but she is rolling all the way to the back. And Jian, what a putt that is. Her second birdie through 17 holes. Obviously a staggered start today with the delayed start to the round, staggering as many groups as they possibly could throughout the course to try and get everyone through their 18 as quick as possible. Oh Ji-hyun from off the green and sailing past. Well, she absolutely must make that par putt to give herself a shot at 18. And speaking of 18, 2 putts should be enough to at least give herself a shot at a playoff. She's done well. Lee Ga-young can join Im Hee-jung at 11 under if she can convert on this lengthy birdie opportunity. Just a gentle push to get that putt started down the hill. It does roll just shy. Taps in to stay at even as she heads to hole number 72. Peng Min-ji, she needs this birdie to give herself a chance at the title. Just breezes by the outside edge. Disappointing for her, but a good day, a long day. No bogeys on the scorecard, 3 birdies. And unless Im Hee-jung misses a near impossible miss, Peng Min-ji will be coming up just short. Kim Chae-hee, her attempt at birdie and her opportunity to move into a share of the lead, and it was always under hit. You could see her react with a bit of frustration, aghast really. Cho Ae-yun to finish with a par, not to be. Well, an even par round as she bogeys to finish where she started the day, or the round rather, at 7 under. Oh Ji-hyun needs this to give herself a chance. For par at 17, and she has got it to fall. Still just the 1 birdie at the very first hole. Now Im Hee-jung for par. Par made. A 68 4 under round, 5 birdies, a bogey early in round 4. She will go sign her scorecard and come back and look on as the final group will play through the 18th. Jae-jin, a tricky putt from just a hair outside of 5 meters, and she will get that to roll in. Well, if not for a triple bogey at the 4th, bogeys at 9 and 18, we could have quite a busy playoff hole, though birdies need to be found at this 414-meter par 4. A long distance makes low scores difficult. You got ponds before the tee, one between the tee and the first fairway, and in between the two fairways on the way to the green. This is a hole to test your accuracy and test your bravery as well. 6 meters up from the tee blocks and a flagstick location. 11 yards from the right, close to the center horizontally, and 17 meters off the front. It all comes down to this. We need a birdie from one of the three. Otherwise, Im Hee-jung will have successfully defended her title. Well, for Ega Young, the driver has not been her friend this weekend. She is elected to tee off with the wood more times than not, certainly on the par 4s, and no exception here. So the first wood shot to set up the second that she will absolutely need to find the green with. Especially with these ponds breaking up fairways. It is all about accuracy off the tee. There aren't many players on tour anyways who could drive that first big pond. So we head back to the first Hodabin. 2 birdies and a par here throughout her tournament. And setting herself up for another with a very nice approach. Well, look at birdie for Hodabin, and a birdie made. She finishes her round a 68, 4 under, and tied with Peng Minji in that runner-up position. Now the contemplation truly picks up. And just one final note on Hodabin. This tie for second will match a career best that she had set at the Ever College in Queen's Crown just a few weeks ago. Also a mark she reached at the 2020 Phantom Classic. .204 meters. Ega Young. A wood onto the green to set up a birdie putt. And she's going to come up short, so she'll need to chip in to have a chance. There's something mesmerizing about an 18th hole that really tests and forces the cream to rise to the top. Sunju Hee, Pei So Yun, Kim Suji, which we saw recently, the only 3 birdies here at 18 today. Is that going to have enough to get through? Yes, it will. It's on the green, but Kim Chae-hee will still have a long birdie putt to force the playoff. She was the longest off the tee. Oh Ji-hyun, just 1 birdie today at the very first hole. She needs a birdie at the last. Here is her approach. She too has found the rough. Well, they gave it their best shots, literally and figuratively. But unless one of those chips or a long birdie putt is made, Im Hee-jung will have defended her title. Kim Soo-ji, after the aforementioned birdie at 18, finishes off the round with a birdie as well. 6 under for the tournament. So-yeon Jung, the first 3 rounds of her event were 70s. It's only fitting that the final round is a 70 as well. And Ji-yeon for birdie and a tournament score of 7 under. And she does get it to drop to finish inside the top 10. Round of 70 for her as well. Well, Jae Reem with a little bit of magic. A great putt from off the green. Down into the cup. That's a pretty good note to end her tournament on. I mean, Song, can she join the birdie foray? No, she can't, but that was certainly the toughest of the quartet of birdie attempts, with a significant slope on the way to the cup.
그럴 때 후원자 등록해야 되나?
Well, only 3 players remain on course in contention. Well, an opening round of 69 for Amy Jung had her 2 back of the pack after round 1. Here's the first challenge from Oh Ji-hyun. Well, she will not make it 2 wins in 2021. Now just 2 challengers remain. By the end of round 2, Emi Jung, a 71, just 1 under. She had dropped 6 strokes back of Lee Ga-young. And then the weather madness began. Lee Ga-young survived with an even par 72 in round 3. It's a 69 again for Emi Jung. Moved her 3 back. Well, it's a formidable effort from Lee Ga-young, who has seen her lead evaporate to no real fault of her own. An even par round, even as the conditions improved. But she saved her best round for last, the opposite of what it took to win this tournament in 2019. Just 20 years of age, a 3-time winner in her rookie season. In 2019, with a COVID-shortened and affected year, she couldn't find the form, and it has taken her 17 events in 2021. Tied for second last week, and 1 shot away from successfully defending the title that brought her her first career win. Kim Jae-hee needs this to force a playoff. It's a tough putt from 13 meters out. It all comes down to this. It's wide right. Coming back at the end, but coming up short. And Emi Jung can hardly believe it. For the 2nd time in her career at this event, the 4th time overall, she is a champion of the KLPGA Tour. Kim Jae-hee, what a 2nd round she put together. 5 under.
발을
22nd of August, 2021, as she signs the bag. Still wiping tears from her eyes. Makes it official. Everyone who participated in this tournament signing off on those souvenirs, some pieces of history. And these aren't irrelevant strokes. These are big money putts on the line right now. As it stands, 5 players with a share of 2nd. Well, she's already realized she's won. I don't think it has quite set in. And she will wait a couple more minutes before the celebrations can truly begin. Oh, Ji-hyun. Her putt for par
Nice.
and a share of second position, and she does get it to fall. 71 is a good score, but it will leave something of a slight sour taste, having birdied the first hole and was not able to find just one more birdie. That would have been enough to force a playoff. Well, when she posted her consecutive rounds of 5 under, was 10 under after 2 rounds, had a 4-shot lead. It seemed almost like destiny that she would finally get her win. She came close earlier in the year, but it was not to be. In the final 2 rounds, this to tie her best results in her career and of the season, and she's missed it. So it will be a bogey at the last and a drop to 6th overall in the tournament. Oh, now you just truly feel for her. She probably wants to get off this green as quickly as she can, stumbling on hole 72. But now that Yi Young has finished, the celebrations can truly begin for the repeat champion here at the High1 Resorts Ladies Open. And now that the photographers are ready, here comes the flower shower. There's been enough actual showers this week. Willie Jung, she had to outlast the fields, outlast and weather the storm from her challengers and from the weather here up in the mountains at High1 Resort. Let's go through the final round highlights. Oh Ji-hyun, that would be her one and only birdie of the day at the very first hole as she looked for her second win of the season, but the birdies would dry up. Peng Min-ji was on the climb on Sunday, as we've grown so accustomed to seeing. That was one of her best birdie putts, second of the front 9, and the most impressive one, no doubt about that. Imi Jung on a rope into the bottom of the cup on 6. Then on the 10th, more from Peng Min-ji.
Okay.
Stayed true to the line. That got her to 10 under par and started the back 9 with a bang. This was one of the most impressive shots from Yi Young on the approach, landing just before the pin, bouncing and rolling back towards to set up a tap-in birdie. Then on 11, the par 5, Kim Chae-hee going right at that flag to the left side of the green, just a few centimeters away. The results, a great approach. She leapt up just on the off chance that short shot was to roll in for eagle. Then Imi Jung at 13. Another birdie. Moving from left to right and slightly downhill at that point, the 5th of the round that got her to what would end up being the tournament winning score at 11 under. There was a late charge from Kim Chae-hee. This was at the par 4 13th. And The toughest putt she'd make all day, the most impressive as well. Significant break at the end, and an interesting run of form for her at birdie, bogey, birdie at that point. She certainly wasn't going down without a fight. Lee Ga-young, a birdie at the 15th to get back to 10 under and one back of the leader. Then on 16, Kim Chae-hee still climbing, still trying to make a case for the win of her own. Another birdie at the par 3 from 5 meters out, slightly downhill and into the cup, and you can see how busy that scorecard was for her down the stretch. On 18, Peng Min-ji, she needed this birdie putt to try and force a playoff. It was close, but it would just breeze by the outside. She came up just short with her penultimate shot of the round. Imi Jung, a par putt to put the pressure on the final group that she rolled in. Finishing off the round with 5 consecutive pars, 2 birdies on the back 9 as well. So she would go sign the scorecard and watch from in behind the green. 2 of the final 3 players on 18 missed the green, so we needed some chips to try and force a playoff. Oh Ji-hyun struck out, and Lee Ga-young, she gave it a really good effort, though she too would come up short and would go on to double bogey the hole, dropping her from a tie for second all the way down to a tie for 6th. This was the putt, the last potential challenger, Kim Chae-hee. It would not go. She would tap in for a final round of 71 to finish in a 4-way tie at 10 under par as Im Hee-jung defends her title here at the High1 Resort Ladies Open. Well, a successful title defense here at the High1 Resort Ladies Open for Im Hee-jung. Chi Soo-jin also honored for her hole-in-one on the 14th hole back in the first round. Well, we appreciate your patience. We appreciate your viewership as always, but especially with a weather delay like we had yesterday. It was an up and down tournament in terms of the weather, but the action on course when it was able to be played was well worth the wait. We will turn our attention to next Thursday when we head to Jade Palace for the first round of the Hanwha Classic 2021. But this is where we say farewell from the High1 Resort. For our entire crew here on the LPGA Tour of Korea, I've been Adam Jenkins saying thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations to the 2-time champion, the second in this tournament's history, the 10th edition of this tournament. It is, of course, Im Hee-jung taking home the win once again in 2021. Until Thursday, stay well, be well, and we'll talk to you soon from the LPGA Tour of Korea.